Well, thank you very much indeed. First of all, it's important that we have a welcome to country, so thank you very much.
Thanks everyone. My name's Dr. Tjanara Goreng Goreng. I won't do a welcome to country because I'm not Ngunnawal or Ngambri. So I'm Waka Waka Woolly Woolly, but I've had the pleasure of living on this beautiful country since 1978. So I think I'm really nearly Canberra, aren't I? So from my clan to this place, I would like to, I think I'll sing. You can sing if you want. So I'm going to sing a song from my mother's country that says thank you to this place. So we sing this song when we go to the edge of everybody's land and to ask permission to come inside, and we let people know who we are and why we want to come in. Pretty simple, and like going to your auntie's house and asking permission to come through the door. So I will do that in honour and respect of the Ngunnawal and the Ngambri people as my way of acknowledging their beautiful country and thanking you all from all the lands and countries that you come from, because you all live on different nations' land in this country, as well as your own country of Australia, which we call Nunchanatia. So I'll do that acknowledgement. Acknowledgements are pretty important. I think it's obviously a strange tradition and ceremony for non-Indigenous people to engage in, although you've all become fairly familiar with them. We always have done this for thousands of years, had that deep respect for country. As you know, we have a very deep spiritual connection to land, especially to the nation or the land on which you were born, from your mother's body to your spirit coming to the earth. So for us, that relationship coming from the Chukapa as spirit beings into the human form is a very sacred relationship, which is why our relationship to land and country is so important. So you all would have the same feeling, I imagine, for your own place where you were born and the place where you grew up, perhaps, or the place that you came from if it was in another country. And that's the same kind of deep connection that we have from the heart and the spirit. So I'm sure that you can feel deeply that connection to your own place of birth. And it's a bit like the connection we have to country in the same way. Uapalya. Garen in the namin, Jujuma Beranu, Garen in the namin, Jujuma Beranu, Garen in the namin, Jujuma Beranu, So I was asked to give a little talk about the topic of your conference, and never spoken at a peace conference that opens with a video about the military not making peace on earth at all. Very interesting film, wasn't it? So I'll tell you a little story about the time that Bob Hawke went to the Ranger uranium mine with a bunch of journalists. So my husband's a 85-year-old retired war correspondent who fought in Vietnam, didn't fight in Vietnam. He took photographs in Vietnam with Neil Davis, who was a very close friend of his. And many of his photographs and videos he gave to the War Memorial when he retired. So it was such a powerful war for him. He was 26 years of age at the time. And he spent many years there taking photographs of that war because he wanted photographs of what a war was really like to go on the front pages of the Australian newspapers. And the photographs that he was expected to take by the military, the Australian military, were of young men smiling, sitting on the top of tanks. So you can imagine how well that went down over here. So I'd like to say, in honour of a man who spent many years recovering from the shock of going to Vietnam, to all the other wars that he travelled to as part of the press, it had a very profound impact on me because I'm 25 years younger than him and I knew nothing. I was in high school when the Vietnam War started, primary school, I think, actually. So I want to tell you a story about Bob Hawke going to the Ranger uranium mine, and William went with a bunch of other journalists, and when he came home, he told me this story that the traditional owners had talked to Bob, and one of the old men had told him the story that if the tailings dam at the base of the Ranger uranium mine, which was at the bottom of this very long mountain, I understand, which was a sacred mountain for the rainbow snake called Didgby. And this old man said to them, if Didgby was ever disturbed by the yellowcake leaking into the tailings dam, leaking into the bottom of the mountain and the river nearby, that it would begin the destruction of the world. Now, a lot of people think that blackfellas don't know very much, but I think that's a very profound thing to tell the Australian Prime Minister, who probably didn't really take that in a great deal. But we have a lot of stories about why you should not dig up uranium, even though it's a good energy source, I'm told. I won't talk about a long story I have, but I was given a story by my mother when I was younger. I'm 64. She gave me this story when I was in primary school about the green ant and the golden spider. And I tell it to my granddaughter now, who loves to hear it nearly every day, because it's about vanity and ego, and it's about not digging up asbestos and uranium. When my mother told it, of course, she told it in a way that children like to hear such stories. But as I got older, I realised she gave me a very important and powerful story for a very good reason, for my own reason, to not let my own vanity and ego enter the world, but also to remind people that asbestos kills you and uranium surely does, especially when it's stuck in bombs and especially when it's stuck in submarines. So the piece that I'm going to share with you today is that we have two very deep laws that teach us that we have to live in Kanyini, the law of harmony and unconditional love and understanding with all living things, on Nunjanatia, which is the name we give Australia. The reason we have this law is because we can live in peace. The law of Kanyini allows you to be at harmony with yourself. So you have to be at harmony with your feelings and everything else. Then you have to be in harmony and live in harmony, not just talk about it, live in a moment-to-moment basis with all the other people you come in contact with in your life. And then you have to live with all the animals and the plants and the rivers and the mountains and the rain and the weather and the fire and the floods in Nunjanatia in a way that is harmonious. And that means that I am not allowed to put my anger out into the universe. It's a bit challenging. And as I get older, I begin to realise how deeply important it is not to do that. Not only does anger destroy oneself, but look what it does to the world when it gets into bombs and causes war. So I think this is a beautiful conference, and thank you very much for asking me to come, by my good friend David and all of you. And it was lovely to see Margaret, who I haven't seen for many, many years. Thank you so much. Ua Palya. Have a good conference.